Welcome, everyone, listeners and viewers, to another episode of Your Lab Central. Today, I'm joined by Brandon Barnum, who's also known as the King of Referrals. So, Brandon, do you want to tell our audience why they should be excited about our conversation today?
Yeah, you definitely. Well, you should be excited about the conversation if you want to make more money and have financial freedom in your life. If you're in business for yourself and you want to attract more clients, customers, and quite frankly, cash flow,
Yeah.
this episode's for you.
All right. So, Brandon, I see the phrase written on the back on the wall, unity through community. Do you want to spread some more light on this? Why specifically you have this painted on your wall?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. So the neon sign back there is exactly what it is. We're on a mission to create unity through community. I run a tech platform called HOA.com here in the United States. HOAs are homeowner associations.
Okay.
53% of all homeowners in the US live in an HOA. Most don't love their HOA because it doesn't really feel like a tight-knit community. So we're creating a new category of business. We started out as a software as a service business. We have evolved to community as a service business. And unity through community is really the mission that we're on. We want to connect neighbors in a way that's never happened before. And through that process, we're empowering professionals who serve homeowners like realtors, mortgage lenders, painters, plumbers. They win more business when they get deeply immersed within the community.
Um, Brandon, I have a specific question to ask. Why do people call you the king of referrals? I don't know if the audience knows, but yeah, this is something they would love to know.
Yeah, you bet. So, it started in my early 20s. I took my income from 20,000 a year to $200,000 a year when I learned the art and science of referrals. I did over $500 million in transactions by referrals. And then my last tech platform, we had over 5 million members. It was called refer.com.
Okay.
We built that up to 5 million members, 250,000 realtors, and then we sold that back in 2019. So, I've helped millions of people grow their business by referrals. I've written several books on referrals. So, if you're a real estate agent, there's a book for you. If you're a mortgage pro, there's a book for you. And even if you're a dentist, we've got a book just for you. So that's why they call me the king of referrals.
So, referrals, as I understand, is all about word of mouth and getting you recommended to somebody else. Now, I've obviously used it in a job scenario kind of thing, and I've
Sure.
obviously heard about it in the business scenario thing where, or as a customer, I refer a product to a fellow friend or something of that sort. How have you looked at referrals and how have you helped people getting a referral, and in how many different scenarios have you done that?
Oh wow, so many different scenarios. Referrals changed my life when I learned the art and science of raving referrals. Like I said, it took I 10x'd my income in 18 months from 20,000 a year to $200,000 a year.
Yep.
And 84% of business to business sales start with a referral. So if you sell to business owners, you need somebody to introduce you, to basically endorse you and to connect you with either the CEO or the C-suite or
Yep.
whoever makes the buying decisions, because 84% of the time they're going to buy from somebody that's been recommended to them.
That's right.
And overall, people are 400% more likely to buy from you when you're referred to them because of the trust transfer that takes place.
Mhm. Now, specifically, when we talk about word of mouth, in the social media scenario that we are living in, how does it pan out? Because referrals these days in the age of the screen are different, right? Sharing a reel across Instagram or sharing a TikTok, you share a video across YouTube. How does that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, it's gone from being individual referrals, which still happens every day around the world, but now you've got social influence, right? You've got social media influencers who, quite frankly, are being paid to give referrals. They're doing endorsements, they're doing shout outs, they're doing promos for different corporate partners, and sometimes they get paid in advance, sometimes they get paid on performance, right? And so sometimes people will use an individual referral tracking link and get paid a percentage of the sales. that they help generate. So I think today more than ever with social media, it's all about using your influence for good. And when you're sharing products and services and people that you're proud to promote because they do a great job and they change people's lives, it's a win-win situation for everyone.
But do you think when we try to do this as an influencer, you try to
Yeah.
promote a product or you say you're doing referring somebody a product on a social media platform, does it dilute the value of the referral that you get, say, via the screen?
I think the reality is it's got to be authentic. You
Yeah,
never want to promote something that you don't personally believe in. But if you've tried a product or a service, it's made a difference for your life and you feel like you can help other people, I think you have a responsibility to share it.
that's
And
right.
you don't want to keep that secret. If I had the cure for cancer, I wouldn't keep it to myself because I was afraid people might judge me because I was sharing it, right? I would want to share it with as many people as possible. And you might not have the cure for cancer, but you might have the cure for something else, right? To somebody's challenges that they're facing. And it's really about empowering people. You're there to help as many people as possible. We teach the Shalmani method, and it's about people, purpose, passion, personality, and prosperity, right? So when we focus on other people first and foremost, we're not focused on ourselves, but we're posting and sharing because it's going to make a difference to other people. And then we have a purpose behind our post. We post because we want to educate, inform, entertain, or we want to attract, right? A call
Yeah.
to action at the end. Then, third, you want to share your passions. What is it that lights your fire, that fills your spirit? Share that passion and your true personality. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So when we share our true personality, people are attracted to it. And that leads to prosperity. And it's not only prosperity for you and your business, which, yes, that's what people care about, but I work with a lot of real estate agents, right? They're creating prosperity for the families that they serve. So it's not only good for you, it's good for the people that you serve.
Now, here's where the community comes into play, right? When you have influence, when you're referring, or you have even be it social media or be it offline, right? Since there's community and it's constantly fighting in my head, we want to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're living as an homeowners association or when you're in a community of professionals on LinkedIn, these things change, and then the point of referral, the method of referring changes. So, how for your business per se, let's say for HOA.com, the community is essential, creating the experience for the community for even say a group of 10 people living in a society together. How is it working out for you? I mean, you've been working with so many people, right?
Yeah, I think community is a great word, right? Because it really means come together as one.
Yeah.
That's what community means, right? Come together as one. And so when you think about it, if you're a social media influencer or you're a business professional, you have a community,
Yeah.
whether you realize it or not. And the question is, are you intentional about building your community? Are you intentional about leading people to a better life, right? A better outcome for themselves, regardless of what service you provide. And so the more intentional you are about building community, I think community is the currency of the future. And we're going to see more and more people that create community intentionally. Now we're creating community as a service, as I mentioned, and that's very intentional because we are creating the future that we want to live in. And that might be in your local neighborhood. Like I live in a community of 131 homes.
Yeah.
And this is the community that I live in. And then I've got a community that I work in, the people that I work with. And then I've got my church community. So I think we're a part of different communities. And as a business owner, you want to be intentional about where you're leading people and are you creating community for your tribe?
Right. Now there's a community that we create across platforms, right? I was just checking out your social media. So I saw that you're very huge on Facebook and LinkedIn, right? And these are very different kind of target audiences that you have.
Right.
And how are you balancing these two? I mean, LinkedIn has a complete professional, while Facebook is all homely and relatives and friends and that kind of thing. So How is it you're able to do both of these together?
Well, so at HOA.com, we have different
Hmm.
stakeholders in
Yeah,
the ecosystem that we're building. Ultimately, it's all about homeowners. Where do
yeah,
homeowners live? Mostly Facebook, Instagram, right?
and yeah,
However, we also support the HOA board members
yeah.
and professionals who serve homeowners and HOA boards. So for them, we focus more on the communication on LinkedIn, a professional platform. So we have different messages and different media channels based on who we're looking to reach and how we want to serve them.
Now, I want to ask about the influence that we talked about, right? As a business owner, have you ever had to do some collaborations with influencers, or probably your influencers just, I mean, did you have the requirement ever to connect with somebody else so that they could do a referral of some sort?
Yeah, we do it intentionally. So in my book, Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents, we actually identified all of the top industry influencers in
Mhm.
the real estate space and we feature them. So I'll just show you an example here. We've got influencers that have 45 million followers, right? So
Okay.
in the book, we
Yeah.
identify the people that have the biggest following that are making the biggest difference
All
within the
right.
real estate industry. Now, why do we feature him in the book?
Mhm.
For a couple different reasons. One, we want to celebrate the leaders in the industry, the people that are making the biggest difference. But understand that there's also a benefit for us featuring them. We start by notifying them, hey, congratulations, we've decided to feature you in our upcoming book. And then what happens is when we launch the book, a lot of those social media influencers shared the book with their community. So it's a win-win strategy. And I just got off with a phone with a or a Zoom with the CEO of a real estate software platform. They have 670,000 real estate agents that are part of their platform. Well, I started the relationship by giving to him. I featured him as an
Yeah.
industry icon
Okay.
in the book. And I also featured his company as a recommended resource. So it allowed me to spotlight somebody in a company that's doing great work, but I gave first. And that's one of the strategies that we teach in the book.
And I guess that is how referrals work, right? You send out a token of saying that I am putting you out in my community, and then probably as an exchange, it may or may not work out. I feel, I mean, sometimes referrals are not two ways. It could just be one way. I mean, that's just my perspective. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so we teach to serve regardless
Yeah,
of opportunity. Give no matter, don't be attached to the outcome.
yeah.
Just do what's best for you and for everyone. And when you always put other people first and you just focus on adding as much value to as many people as possible, good stuff's going to come back. When you're attached to the outcome and you only give because you're hoping to get something out of it, your vibration's lower, like you're not going to have the same results. So serve regardless of the opportunity.
And then as referrals go, right? We obviously word of mouth is one thing, and in the age of social media that we're doing, uh, there's the over time referrals have transformed, right? Do you think that referrals have transformed? We used to send out a letter and then do that. Now I've been for the past few days I've been looking for new jobs, and then I've been sending out messages to people that
Yeah.
hey, could you? This is the link of the job that I found, and could you do this for me? And sometimes people have asked me back as well. Uh, this is probably on a very small scale that I'm doing, but how can you do it on a bigger scale? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah,
As
so I teach influencers. We've been talking about social media. And so in the book, we feature about 80 different social media influencers that altogether have 44 million followers.
right?
That's macro. What you're talking about is micro. You're talking about the individual recommendation. Both are important. It depends on where you are and what your objective is.
So yeah. Um, in the whole experience that you have, I think it's been 20 years for you, 2 decades that you've done it.
28. Yeah, 28.
Close to 3 decades. I'm just as old as that. So you
Yeah, I was going to say. I might have started before you were born.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Okay.
So, how's your experience been transforming people's lives? Have people come back to you to say that, oh, this has been phenomenal,
Oh
what
yeah.
you've been doing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the fulfilling part is when people go put it to work. We always teach it works when you work it. Like the thing about referrals is you got to take action, right?
Mhm.
You can, a lot of people just hope and pray that they're going to get referrals and you're going to get some. If you provide a great service and you take care of people, you're going to naturally get some recommendations. The question is, what if you could double, triple, or 10x the number of referrals that you're getting? And are you being intentional about it? Do you have people out there scouting for clients for you? We teach 1 + 1 = 11,
Mhm.
right? When you create partnerships with other people and business owners that are serving your perfect prospects, and you become the solution for their clients' challenges, now they're recommending you all the time. And
Yeah,
you should be scouting for business for them just as they're scouting for business for you.
Um, no, this is the basic part. But if you were to give one, how do I say, the first step that they should be taking while giving a referral or taking a referral, right?
Yeah.
What's the first step or the first thought that should be in their mind?
Oh, wow, that's an interesting question. So here's what I'm going to say is there's 10 best practices when it comes to referrals. And if you go to referralscorequiz.com, referralscorequiz.com, you can take the quiz. It'll take you about a minute long and you can self-score yourself. And what you're going to find is that you've got some blind spots in your business. The average score is 37 out of 100. And what happens is people realize they're like, oh, I should be doing that. I've never thought about that before. So if you ask me what's the number one thing that you should be doing, I would say number one, you should be asking more for referrals because a lot of people don't ask. We teach the art of the ask. Most people don't ask because they feel uncomfortable and they feel awkward asking for referrals. So we teach them how to ask for referrals in a proactive, positive way that's seen as serving rather than selling. And when you're focused on the other person, it makes all the difference.
So I think, yeah, that's where the difference lies, where when you ask for a referral, rather than trying to sell, you're asking their problem. I think that is what you're getting at, or is it something different?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so we teach the art of the ask, and I'll just walk you through it real quick. There's 3 steps. Most people wait till the end of a transaction to ask for referrals. I think that's a mistake. I
Okay.
think what you want to do is you want to set the stage up front.
Hmm.
So that there's 3 steps. Set the stage, listen for the triggers, and then you ask. Okay. So setting the stage is the most important. When somebody hires you, when they choose to do business with you, what you want to do before you let them out of your office or off Zoom is say, before I let you go, can I ask you a quick favor? I'm so committed to creating a 5-star experience for you that what I'd love to do is prove how professional we are, what a great job we do. And then once you've experienced our service for yourself, would it be okay if I ask you for referrals at a later date? Now, why have I done that up front? Number one, what I've done is I just committed to doing a great job for them.
Yeah.
And that's what they heard. So 100% of people that I've asked that to and my clients have asked that to, 100% of the time, people say, absolutely, I'd love that because you're not asking them for anything. You're not putting them on the spot. You're saying, I'm going to do a great job and I'd like to earn the right to ask you for referrals later on, right?
Okay.
The
Mhm.
cool thing is you're going to get some referrals on the front end because some people are going to be like, I have a friend, neighbor, client, coworker, and they're looking for someone right now. So I'll go ahead and refer you right now.
Right.
Awesome. Great. Bonus. But we're planting seeds because now when we set the stage up front, as we start servicing the client, they're already thinking about referring you.
Yep.
You've already put it on their brain. And so now if they have a client, coworker, cousin, whatever it is that mentions that they need help where you provide help, they're going to refer you in the
Yeah.
process. But what you're looking for is you're listening now in step 2, you're listening for the referral triggers. And the referral triggers are basically, wow, this is awesome. Thank you so much. You rock. You do such a great job. I've made so much money, saved so much time, lost so much weight, whatever the result is
Mhm.
that you provide for your clients. And once you hear the referral trigger, that person is in a peak referral state, right?
All
They are
right.
the most likely to refer you because not only have they had a great experience, but they've expressed it to you, right? And that's when you want to ASK to GET. So once you hear the referral trigger, you say, I'm so glad to hear you say that. Remember when we first started working together, I told you I was going to go above and beyond to provide a great experience for you. Well, now that you've experienced my services for yourself, I'm looking to help a few other clients. I'm looking to take on a couple other clients and customers. Who do you know that I could connect with where I could help them the way I've helped you?
Yeah.
Totally different way to do it. Instead of waiting to the end, you start at the beginning. And by pledging a 5-star experience and then providing that to them, once it gets to the time to ask, they are much more likely to ask, and they're already thinking about it the whole way through.
That makes a lot of difference, right? I mean, even for me, I've obviously I've tried to have that trigger in the somewhere in between, if not at the start. While my services are being discharged, I've talked to people that, yeah, how are you feeling? Does it feel nice? And then probably we can get to, can you just let me know if somebody else needs something like this? And then we have this conversation, and yeah, probably we can get to that later. So that's how things have been going on, and I'll probably try to implement this, and the audience will too. Uh, the next thing, probably we can, I know what should I get to, but yeah, your book specifically, Raving Referrals. Can you tell me why that name itself? You have that Raving Referrals as a website as well, which is separate.
Yeah.
But then why did you come up with the name Raving Referrals?
Yeah, so what we want is we want people raving about our business. So what that means is they're so passionate about what you do that they're raving about you. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you've got to go see this and experience it for yourself. Oh my gosh, they're going to take such good care of you." And that's what it means to rave about something, right? When we're excited, we're passionate. And so that's what I want is I want a raving referrals. People often talk about leads.
Yeah.
I don't want a lead. A
Okay.
lead to me is a 4-letter word, and you can think of some other 4-letter words, right? A lead to me has no personal trust transfer. I want somebody that's already experienced me, they know me, they like me, they trust me, and they rave about me to the people that they know. And that way, by the time I get onto the phone or the Zoom with that person, they've already made the decision to do business with me before I ever even say the first word to them.
So this is actually interesting because just in a previous episode, I was talking about a sales funnel, right? And they talked about leads, appointments, presentations, and sales. Now, what you're talking about is probably cutting a part of the sales funnel itself and getting directly. Probably you're not even talking about doing a presentation to the lead itself. You're just trying to get directly to the sales because
Yeah.
the first three steps, which is leads, appointments, and presentations, have been replaced by the referral itself, and that is where the
Well,
market is coming
you're
in.
talking about the same thing. You're talking
Yeah,
about LAPS,
yeah,
LAPS, leads, appointments, presentation,
yeah.
sales. I teach the same thing. I just call it RAPS, referrals, appointments, presentation, sales. The difference is that
Mhm.
when somebody's referred to you, they're 400% more likely to hire you.
Yeah,
So
that's
a
it.
lead converts at a much lower rate, whereas a referral converts
Yeah,
higher, and a referred client is 16% more profitable overall. They trust you more, so
yeah,
they spend more money, they stay with you longer, they refer more people, and they're just more enjoyable to work with because they're not worried you're going to screw them over. They trust you from the get-go.
yeah, that's right. Over this 3 decades of work that you've done and the several thousand referrals that you've given and taken, um, can you share one favorite anecdote or one favorite referral that you've got or probably given out?
Well,
Uh,
I'll tell you, let me tell you my biggest referral fail. So this is the
okay.
opposite. My best referral I ever got, I got introduced to a man named Mark Victor Hansen.
Uh-huh.
He's the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. He sold over
All right.
500 million
Yeah.
books. I got referred to him back in 2004, and he's been my mentor for 21 years. So in my book, I talk about the referral of a lifetime. It was definitely Mark Victor Hansen. That man has made a huge impact on my life. I just talked to him the other day.
Okay.
But I think what's probably more helpful is my biggest referral fail, right? I used to have a mortgage business and I had a client call me up one day and he was a vice president for Intel, the chip maker.
Okay.
And and he says, and I had done three loans for him. I had made probably close to $20,000 in commissions just from his personal transactions. And he calls me up one day and he says, his name is John Jones, giving him a shout out. And he says, "Hey, Brandon, I just want to find out how things went with Mike Henry." And I'm like, "Oh, it's amazing. I just, closed on Mike's refinance 3 weeks ago." And then there was this long, awkward pause and silence.
Okay.
And he said, "Do you mind if I give you a little coaching?" I'm like, "Oh, absolutely. Feedback's the breakfast of champions, right?" And he says, "Number one, it's a really good idea to thank people who give you a referral." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even thank this guy, right?" I felt like a big loser. I always thought thanks my referral partners, but he was a client and I just didn't think about it like that.
Mhm.
And then he says, number two, it's also a good idea to follow up with and update the people that refer you clients in business. And I
Right.
went, oh my gosh, he's so right. So I owned a mortgage company at that time. And what I did is I had thank you cards pre-printed. I had about 30 loan officers that worked for me. My company was called Integrity Lending. And so I had these thank you cards made up that said thank you for the referral, and then it had a blank line, thank you for referring, and then my loan officers or I would write in the name of the client or customer. So all the work was done. It was easy to do, fill in the blank, but now at least we had a way to follow up and thank the person that gave us the referral. So I learned a lot from that lesson. I felt like the biggest idiot and biggest loser, but it's helped me, and now I teach that, so I know it's helped lots of other people.
Thank you. I mean, that anecdote actually moves me as well because, yeah, I felt that sometimes. I mean, not exactly as yet, but in school, I've had that experience. So something of that sort, but a little different in a different scenario. But thanks for sharing that with the audience.
Absolutely.
And thanks for joining in, particularly for taking time out from a busy schedule to join me on this episode of Your Lab Central. Uh, do you want to share any contact details or something where the audience could reach out to you or probably get in touch?
Yeah, you bet. Again, I'd tell everybody to go to referralscorequiz.com, take a look at that quiz. It'll take you 60 seconds, but it'll definitely help you identify some blind spots in your business. And if you want to connect with me, you can reach me at brandonbarnum.com.
Thank you, Brandon, for joining in on my podcast, Your Lab Central. I'm sure the audience will have a lot of takeaways from this episode. And to the audience, if you have some comments on this podcast, on this episode, do leave them down and leave a like and do give us a referral. Probably we'll get you somewhere. And thank you, like and subscribe. Thanks for joining in.